Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you might recognise from behind me, we are now back in Lima at the house of Alison's grandparents. Our time at CI officially came to an end 2 days ago. Before that, however, one place we did go is we spent the full day out at a place called Quistacocha. And when we got there, we saw all sorts. We saw the anacondas, we saw the jaguars, we saw many different types of monkeys, we saw quetzals, parrots, the works. And when it came to the monkeys, quite an amusing incident happened. One monkey actually managed to escape from the top of the cage and was going around the side the whole time. And thankfully it didn't really spot anyone, and it wasn't too violent or anything like that, but it was quite amusing to see how they managed to escape. So much that I've named him Houdini in his honour. That's right, Houdini. Moving on. The next stop on it is we went out by the lake next to Quistacocha, and it's a small lake with a little beach and a little small area where you can swim. The current's quite fast, so they only allow you to go in a certain area, but it is wonderful just being able to step into the warm water. Honestly, it's like having a warm hot bath in December or what have you. It's just stepping in and you can just swim in it, and it's clean and it's just riveting. Later on we went out into Iquitos city centre for a chifa. A chifa is basically like a massive Chinese dish, as Chinese food is very popular in Peru. The only thing is though, whenever they say whenever they are giant, we absolutely mean that they are giant. And after food we went for a little trail around the artisan market, a little bit outside the city centre, an area called San Juan Bautista, and we got all sorts of nice things to see there. So there was artworks of the Amazon, there were handcrafted little patterns, handcrafted little trinkets, the kind of things that you can put on your mantelpiece or your wall or what have you. And there were bags and all sorts of nice stalls. And we went there at about 4:30, so it was a lot less people there. But as it's a market, it's the kind of place where you have to keep your money and things very close to your chest. But it's just one of those things, and they have a lot of prices there. They see it out for gringos, if you will. So if you ever go to a market, you literally have to haggle. But unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way. It's just a case of you beat them down until they're happy with the price they'll accept. But it's always nice, and it's always good to go to these places. If you ever find yourself in Iquitos, go to Quistacocha, go to the Amazon markets. You'll not regret it, not in the slightest. Later on that evening we also went for cocktails at a place called Maximochi. It's another good place if you ever wish to have drinks. The cocktails are super sweet. When we got back, we came back to find that a pipe had clogged up in one of the other rooms, and Ginebra, another volunteer, her room was absolutely flooded, and the only room that wasn't affected by it was Yolanda's, and everyone had to go into her house just to brush teeth, take a shower, use the toilet, the whole works, and it was very difficult. It was a bit awkward at first for a night or two, but it was okay the following day. It only lasted a short while. The following day was devoted to a workshop called El Día Sin Violencia, so basically a day without violence. So there are two sets of things that were occurring. So the adults went and had a talk, basically a workshop about living without violence. Meanwhile, the volunteers were left to look after the kids. So Pablo and Raquel looked after the older ones, and me and Alice were watching the younger ones, and they were basically between sort of 3 and 6 years old. Unfortunately, I was unwell, so I couldn't really watch the kids for too long. The reason why I was unwell is because earlier in that morning on the Sunday, there was actually quite a lot of wasps that had invaded our room, and it turned out there was actually a nest on a tree branch just directly in front of the door. And unfortunately for me, I accidentally walked into it, and I got precisely 16 wasp stings on my head, right on the top of my head, and it caused me to be all dazed and sore for hours at the end. We also had a little farewell meal with the rest of the volunteers, where a Spanish fellow came round and made an enormous paella for about 12-13 people. The other volunteers who'd went down to the river had returned on the Sunday, and then we were leaving on the Tuesday. It was a bit awkward that we didn't have a huge amount of time with them, but it's good that we had the time whilst we had it, and it's good that we had a nice meal, and everyone loved it, and everyone was very supportive, and everyone was very kind to us as we were leaving. And we've now finished up our time in Suyai. We're back in Lima here for another week or so, and then on the 12th of November we're going to head out to Arequipa,